Hey, welcome back in. I don't have to tell you that home prices have risen, as well as groceries and other necessities. They just keep going up. Inflation is on everyone's mind right now, but there are ways to make it a little more bearable and protect yourself as well. Marshall Clay from the Welsh Group joins us to explain why owning assets is a must. Good to see you this morning, Marshall.
Hey, good to see you, Mike.
Before we talk about owning assets, though, there are some things that kind of seem like they're common sense, but there are ways to really protect yourself from overspending and really getting caught up in the inflation really hurting your wallet, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I think that, the thing I want to impress on your viewers this morning is just this idea of embracing ownership, right? I mean, if you look at the latest CPI data, like you said, from December, CPI is up about 7.1%. So inflation 7.1% year over year. Average hourly earnings are only up 4.7%. So if you're solely relying on your wages and salaries to keep up with inflation, you are desperately falling behind. In addition to that, a recent poll showed that only 56% of Americans own stocks and only 65% of Americans own real estate. So between 35 and 40% of Americans have not benefited from the increase in the stock market, increase in real estate. So they are solely relying on wages and salaries, and they're really falling behind relative to inflation. So to your point, avoiding and living beneath your means and avoiding unproductive debt is really the first step that I would like your viewers to focus on. So those things are really coincide with one another. If you're able to live beneath your means, you're able to save the difference between what you make and what you're spending, and actually stay out of that unproductive debt cycle, i.e. credit card debt. Another big one that I've seen recently, if you look at the student loan debt crisis, I mean, we have $1.75 trillion approximately of student loan debt. Over 50% of those borrowers think that the debt was not worth it. And if you look at millennials, over 53% of millennials either can't afford to buy a home or they don't even qualify. So not saying that you shouldn't borrow money for your education, but I think students should really take time to assess the education that they're about to receive and see if they're going to have return on their investment. And then lastly, to my point about owning assets, it really is a must. If it's whether it's stocks, real estate, valuables, owning your own business. I mean, anything like that can appreciate in value over time and help you stay ahead of this inflation. It's an absolute must, because I think we're probably not going to see 7.1% inflation year over year from here on out, but I do think inflation is going to continue to be something that your viewers are going to have to tangle with, and I think owning assets is really one of the only ways that you can stay ahead of it.
Marshall, there are going to be some folks out there who say, look, I'm just trying to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't have money to put towards buying stocks. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say, look, there's a lot of opportunities maybe for like side gigs out there just to make a little bit. Now, I'm not talking about going out and owning, making huge purchases to own things, but every little bit counts. I mean, people ask me what I do all day for a living. I say I walk around and I pick up pennies. So if you can walk around and pick up pennies, evaluate everything that you're purchasing, making sure that it's a need and not necessarily a want. And then saving those differences, you can go a long way to combating this inflation that we're likely to see from here on out.
And I'm sure some low-risk mutual funds would be a good way to go to get started there, because you don't need a lot of investment starting up there. All right, Marshall Clay from the Welsh Group, we do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Mike. Have a great day.
All right, we got more ahead here on Good Day Alabama, including the buzz, and we're going to talk